In 1999, a young girl walks into a Hong Kong police station alone. She seemed nervous and pale. She sat down with an officer and claimed that she was being haunted by the ghost of a dead woman who appears hanging from electrical wires from ceiling for the last couple of weeks and believes that she won't be at peace until the girl confesses to what happened to the woman that she sees in her nightmares. At first, the police do not take her seriously and disregards her statements, thinking that this 14-year-old girl maybe has mental issues and is making crazy stories. But when she tells them about the horrible torture and murder she witnessed and actively took part in, the police then couldn't ignore it. The police investigated the address that the girl had given them, and they find something truly shocking and horrible. The apartment now was a crime scene where they would find multiple evidence of the objects that were used to kill the woman, but stuffed inside a huge Hello Kitty plush doll, they found the woman's skull. The skull belonged to a woman called Fan Man-yee. Fan Man-yee was born in 1976 in Shenzhen. She was abandoned by her family and was raised by an all-girls orphanage. Since she was not adopted, she was asked to leave at the age of 15 as the orphanage had their own age restrictions, so she soon became homeless and got addicted to drugs. To survive, Fan ended up to resort to prostitution and at the age of 21 began working at a brothel named Romance Villa in order to keep a roof over her head. Fan eventually fell for one of her clients, a fellow drug addict, and later married him in 1996. She also gave birth to their son 2 years later in November 1998. Her husband soon began mistreating her and was described as abusive, and neighbors in their apartment building would report being awakened to not only the sounds of the child screaming and crying, but also to the sounds of couples fighting throughout the night. While working in the brothel Romance Villa, Fan met a 33-year-old man named Chan Man-lok, who was a tried member and a drug dealer. In early 1999, Fan stole Chan's wallet, which contained Hong Kong $4,000, which is equivalent to about 500 US dollars. The reason why she did that was because when her son was born in the year 1998, she wanted to provide her son with a better life and safe as well. She eventually left her husband and took a job in the Empress Karaoke Club as a hostess, which meant that now she had low income to support herself and her son. Upon realizing that Fan had robbed him, Chan became very furious, not at the fact that Fan stole the money from him, which he had plenty, but at the fact that she dared steal from him. Chan then confronted her, upon which Fan agreed to pay him back all the money, but Chan also wanted an additional compensatory fee of around 10,000 Hong Kong dollars. Fan returned the money she had taken immediately, however, was unable to pay the additional fee at that time, but agreed to pay him over the time. On March 17, 1999, 3 men and a teenage girl abducted Fan from her apartment and was taken to Chan's apartment, which was bizarrely decorated with Hello Kitty memorabilia. Among the kidnappers were Chan himself, along with Leung Wai-lun, Leung Shing-cho, and a 14-year-old grooming victim, Ao Ming-fo. It is in this apartment that now Fan will endure over a month of relentless physical and psychological torture. Chan had planned to pimp Fan out to pay off the debt, but was never satisfied with the money Fan earned and kept demanding more and more money as the compensation until it became impossible for Fan to ever pay him back. Throughout her captivity, these men would hit her and beat her often, with beatings so brutal that she couldn't even work. The group would get high on drugs and inflict brutal beatings on her while laughing at her and enjoying the whole ordeal. Even the 14-year-old Ao Ming-fong would enjoy torturing Fan and would often come up with new ways to inflict pain on her, all while laughing and giggling as if doing something very enjoyable. All this while, these sadists were raping Fan repeatedly as much as they wanted. These men and the 14-year-old would tie Fan up and use her as a punching bag till they no longer could beat her and get tired. And then these psychos would hit her with metal bars and stab this poor woman with kitchen utensils and smash pieces of furniture over her and force her to eat excrements. One time it got so bad that these psychos, during one of the beatings, kicked Fan 50 times in the head. Often at times after these tortures, when Fan was unable to move, the sadist group would rub spices into her wounds, and to further make sure that she's unable to move or run away, they would put melted hot candle wax and hot plastic to burn her legs and feet, and would ask her to consume more human waste. Through all of it, she was told to smile and behave and say that she enjoyed all of it, or else she would receive even more harsher torture. The psycho group would then later on use anything or everything in the apartment that could be used to inflict more pain on Fan. They would burn plastic straws and burn Fan's feet with it, then would hit her burnt feet with metal bars and sticks and throw chili oil on her wounds and oyster sauce on her face. Things kept getting from bad to worse for Fan, to the point that they started urinating directly on her face and mouth, forcing her to drink it all. 'Cause if she didn't, they would torture her even more. Later, during the confession, Ao Fong revealed that she defecated in a shoebox once and forced Fan to eat it, which she thought was so much fun. They would hang her with electrical wires and would hang her then from the ceiling and would hit her with metal pipes and leave her hanging there overnight. Eventually, they stopped giving her food but continued to feed her urine and their excrements. They continued to fill her wounds with dirt, salt, spices, melted candles, plastics, and excrements. I cannot imagine the pain and the suffering this poor woman would have had gone through in the course of 1 month without any medicines being applied on her wounds or being given proper food, and with the continuous beatings that she was given, not ignoring the fact that even up till this point her body was being used to make money for them, for these sadists. Up till this time, they were still making use of her to make money for them, but now they realized that she was of no use and was broken. During this time, Fan would go in and out of the consciousness because of the torture that was being inflicted on her. After a month, sometime between 14th and 15th of April, Fan succumbed to her wounds. When these minions of Satan realized that Fan was dead, they decided to dispose the body in yet another sinister way. They took Fan's body into a bathtub and used a hacksaw to cut her into small pieces, and then would go on to boil them to get rid of the smell in the same pots and same place where they normally would cook food. They also went on to boil Fan's head in the pot to an extent that it got deboned. That's when they thought of keeping the skull as a trophy. They went ahead and took a Hello Kitty mermaid doll and sewed the skull inside the Hello Kitty doll. And this is where the name of the case came from. Later in the investigation, some of her internal organs and one tooth was also found in the refrigerator in a plastic bag. These psychos almost got away with this murder until Ao Fong went to the police station claiming that she was being haunted by Fan's ghost, and was having nightmares about it. The 3 sadist men were then arrested and were convicted of manslaughter, as it couldn't be proved if Fan was murdered or died from a drug overdose. While the jury could not rule that the men intended to kill Fan, they did determine that Fan died because of their abuse. Ao Fang testified at the trial in exchange for immunity. Because of her young age and the corporation, she never received any punishment for her involvement in the murder. The sadist trio were then sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 20 years. Hong Kong does not have the death penalty, But if happened in mainland China, they would have been executed. It is said that many unusual events occurred during the trial, which was seen by everyone present at the court. Forensic doctors in charge revealed that when the skull of the deceased, the Hello Kitty doll, and the clay pot used to cook the body were presented in the court, the entire court was filled with the smell of the corpse. No matter where the Hello Kitty doll was presented, nearby lights would flicker. The apartment building where the crime took place was demolished eventually in September 2012 and was rebuilt as a hotel named Suravit in 2016. Fan's skull was returned to her birth family, and a necklace that belonged to Fan was handed over to Fan's son after it was discovered in the refrigerator during the investigation. Two movies by the name of Human Pork Chop and There Is Something in My Soup were also released in 2001 due to the publicity around the case. Leong Shin-cho managed to somehow reduce his sentence from life to 18 years and was released on April 2014, however was arrested again in August 2022, 8 years after, for sexually assaulting a 10-year-old girl. Fan's life is a poignant reminder of the vulnerabilities faced by many individuals in the society, particularly those who are marginalized or living in difficult circumstances. Her story evokes empathy and highlights the need for compassion and support for those in similar situations. As we remember Fan Ye, let us hope that she has found peace. May her spirit be free from pain and suffering she endured, and may she be surrounded by love and light. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on all notifications. Your support helps us grow and continue sharing important stories. Thank you for being a part of our community.